oh my God, she doesn't see me. I was like, oh my God, she doesn't see me. And I'm like trying to like run now through the crosswalk. Welcome back to the Big Dane podcast. How was your weekend and week? It's hard to believe already. I feel like January is just flying by. Who is doing dry January, which I think is a load of BS. But hey, you do you, right? I feel like by default, I'm doing it just because of my FODMAP diet that I have to do for my stomach. Just an elimination diet, basically, with certain types of food and all that. And I told you that a little bit before, but yeah, I'll definitely get into a whole episode on that once it's over. So probably beginning of March at this, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, like, what's the point of dry January? Like, just doesn't, like, why? Just cut back then if you're trying to cut back. Like, come on. Why try to almost do, like, go, cold turkey and then, okay, February comes, let's just drink a shit ton and feel shitty again. Okay, cool. So anyway, I actually have some fun updates for you. A couple of my walks, and then I have just an update coming up in regards to a charity. So first off, I was doing a walk, and yeah, it was kind of fun to like write some of this down again because I feel like it literally has been like blah or too cold or whatever. So yeah, I was just walking on the sidewalk and kind of like near like Totaro's, and I'm like looking at the ground, like, because when you're walking, trying not to look at your phone too much and like step in dog shit or something, right? So then I'm like looking down. I was like, what the hell is this? It's like pebbles or like what? But then I see like it's like wet and I'm like, what the hell? So here it was definitely like throw up from like a dog. And I would say dog because I mean, obviously you're not really taking your cat out for a walk, and like what stray cat is just gonna like barf up, dry cat food unless you keep feeding them. But likely it was probably like a small dog because it was like small kibble, right? So it was like kind of gross. So sorry for grossing you out like in the first few minutes here, but hope you're not eating. Or yeah, hope you're not eating. But I was like, oh, really? Like, at least like try to, if you had maybe a beverage or like water, you should just like try to like hose it down or something. But oh wow. And then towards the end of my walk, I'm like almost home, and then I hear this car like coming only because I could hear the music like blasting. So this guy blasting. Well, okay, let me back up first. I hear from a car, it's like getting closer and closer. So I was like, oh my gosh, who is this? And they were playing Lose Yourself by Eminem. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like picturing this like old like Civic, tinted windows. Maybe it has like the little like dice hanging from the mirror. You know what I mean? And then I look over and there's like grown ass man in a Lexus sedan. And he had the windows down. And I looked over and he looked over back at me, and it was like the weirdest thing. And I'm pretty sure he was like eating a slice of pizza too. So it was quite the sight to see, but it just made me laugh. I'm like, wow, this is hysterical. So that was that. So those were like my two like quick things on a walk since it had been so long. And now I have some fun updates. Okay, so this charity is called the Lighthouse for Perth, and so they're a nonprofit organization for people in crisis, so all mental health related. Anyone that's having thoughts of self-harm or suicide. And so there's a benefit going on with Robbie Hutton Music, okay, and Sonics. So they have a charity single that is going to be released on the 27th. But you can pre-order, and then you'll have it like already like set to go, and all the proceeds go to this organization. So it's pretty cool what they're doing. Mental health is such a huge part of society, and I feel like a lot of times it gets overlooked. And it's like we talk about like exercising like so much and eating right, but it's like, well, what about our mental health? Like, so something really great here. The easiest way to kind of check it all out, I would go to Robbie's Instagram account. So that's at Robbie, ROBBIE, Hutton, HUTTON music, Robbie Hutton Music. Okay. And then in his bio, he has the link there that'll take you right to the site for the charity and to pre-order. And yeah, it'll be great. So something, just, feeling good about, and, something I thought that was kind of important to share and just kind of spread the word with all that jazz. So there you have it. I'll remind you guys again. I'll probably, oh my God, sorry for the background noise. Moo always decides to know when to disrupt me during my episodes, and it's nowhere near to like feed or anything. She's just playing with the ball. So sorry about that. But yeah, I will remind you guys again. I had recently just put it on my story. So I'll keep adding to there so you can check it out. So yeah, cool beans. All right. So we're going to get into it, and just kind of like a random, like totally random episode. Just like random things maybe you think of, or like, because when I do something or think about something, I was like, does anyone else kind of like think like this or do this, So just a few like random stuff going on here. So let's get weird. Okay, so first off, at least what I realized, this was when I was working my last job, and I remember like putting in my headphones, okay, to listen, to the music or whatever. And then I realized I was putting them in, and then I was still kind of like, checking email, kind of like getting set up and whatnot. And then maybe like 10 minutes go by, and I realized, oh my God, I didn't put any music on yet. And then the next thing you know, because you didn't put anything on, that now you're suddenly like eavesdropping like around you, like, oh, like, oh, did you hear like so-and-so is switching departments, or, and just like random stuff. And I was like, wow, what am I doing? But like, then the other side to that is, if I didn't want someone to approach me or try to like have a conversation because I'm just like focused, I would just put them in and not put anything on. So I'd like pretend. So secret's out, but hey, I mean, I'm obviously still been at home now, so, and granted that was on my last job when I actually like interacted with people, so yeah. But just something just funny because I realized like, wow, why am I putting like my headphones like in and then like not turning anything on right away? Oops. But yeah, I'm curious, like, do you guys maybe do that by accident? Or like, I know for a fact some of you will definitely like put on headphones and not like, and pretend you're like listening to something when you really, really, we know like what you're doing. Yeah, yeah. So another like random thing I have on here. How about like when you're driving somewhere, maybe you're running an errand or doing a little road trip, going on vacation, you know, many roads, many dirt roads, maybe some back roads and highway. Okay. So don't you ever think about like maybe in the car next to you or like in front of you? Like, oh, I wonder where they're going or like what's their story? And I don't know, it just makes you think. Like, you know, maybe like we were going on vacation. It's like, well, are you going on vacation too? Looks like you're out of state. So where are you going? You know, and then maybe you could see there's like kids in the back and, you know, it's a little family. Or maybe you see your grandmom's coming along. How fantastic is that? Yeah. Or sometimes like it could just like literally be like during the week and like on my way to the gym and you know, you're at the traffic light, you stopped, and then yeah, sometimes I'll like look to my left or look to my right. Sometimes I'll even like look in my rear view mirror and see like what's the person doing behind me. Like I don't know. Some people, you know, you see some like weird stuff. Yeah, like I feel like some people are like trying to put their makeup on, which I thought, how in the hell are you putting makeup on in while you're driving? I mean, guys, and literally guys, to try, now I'm trying to even think like, oh, like let me put on mascara. That's two things you have to like kind of, you know, you're gonna hold the tube in one, and then you take out the stick that you're gonna, you know, put the mascara on. So now that's two hands you're using. And you're gonna do it real quick and then put it right back in, and then, oh, I got half of an eyelash done? Or, I don't know. It's just like, just do it at home. Like, what are you doing? Like, it looks like you have poor time management skills here. Plus, it's hard to see. Mirrors in cars are like so small. So, how do you even know like you're putting it on right? Or if you're putting on foundation, putting on the right shade. Well, not the right shade, but like spreading it evenly, you know? Yeah. But I kind of think of, you know, just people around me in their cars, and I'm like, oh, like I wonder what their story is, like where do they work, like, you know, what do they like to do, or, you know, are they my neighbor? So like all like kind of random stuff. Cool. So how about, so in our kitchen we have a couple windows, and we can like, we're like higher up, so we can like kind of see a lot from just how the house kind of lays. So, you know, we can see like straight out the backyard, and then like the house is like behind us too. So, and then I wonder, I'm like, can they see me at night when I'm just like dancing around, or like maybe I'm doing like some jumping jacks if I'm like finishing up a workout and I'm just like bopping around like it's no one's business? And just because we typically have the shades open and we don't have any curtains, so I'm just like, oh, like, did you see me get that late night snack? You know, I made some popcorn. or what? Because I feel like I'm like always looking out, but then I don't see anyone, so I'm like, hello? Is anyone there? I feel like what I do miss seeing, just because it's like colder out now. There's a house behind us, on the next street behind us too. Their dog would always like hang out in the back, and I'm like, look, it's Fluffy. Fluffy is out. And this dog kind of like just a lot of fluff. I don't know. I think the closest of what I could describe it as is like a lion dog. That's what I'm calling it, because I don't know dogs. I don't know breeds. I don't know what kind of dog this is, but that's what I would say. Yeah. And we just like, actually, I think it's a girl dog, because we bumped into her when when we were walking. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then a lot of times too, like when it was like warmer out, I was like, why are we the only ones that are outside right now? Because we would just be hanging out in the back and chilling, and I was like, why is no one else outside? Like looking at like the houses behind us, because you have a clear picture. So, but yeah, I feel like besides the dog and that owner, like I don't really see too many, which is odd. But anywho, what are your neighbors like? Yeah, you tell me. Yeah, or how about, yeah, and speaking of dancing, right? So just with, quarantine and pandemic and whatnot, and, I tried to meet my step goal, right? And it's like, well, I can't go to the gym. I guess like when it was still closed, like obviously I couldn't go to the gym. And then maybe it's like a day that I kind of want to rest, but I like kind of want to get some movement in. But now it's raining outside, so I'm like, great, and like I really can't, do anything at all. And it's like, wow, I got like 827 steps today. Wow, right? So I thought, you know what? I enjoy dancing. I enjoy, feeling the beat, feeling the rhythm, right? And I'll just put on music and I'll like dance for like 30 minutes and just bop around. And I always have to like make sure my Fitbit is like picking it up, because like sometimes I have to like jump like and do like high knees or like go up the steps for like a couple steps and then come back down, so it's like, oh, you're moving, oh, okay, so you're not sitting. And I was like, no, dude, like I'm fucking dancing now. And so that's what I like enjoy doing, like just to get some movement, and I don't know, just kind of like re-energize almost too, with just like sitting all day and then come on, right? So who else? I mean, does anyone else do that? Yeah? Yeah, I know. Well, you tell me your story of dancing. What kind of dancing do you do? Okay. So I was asking Matt, like, so is there anything like kind of random you do or kind of think or what? And, because it's like, obviously, like, we all have our weird things, and we know, with living together, we know like how weird we can get. So that's that. But then it's like when you're alone, when we don't see each other, like, what are you doing? So he's like, yeah, so when I go on my walks, he's like, I talk to myself. I was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, like I do that too. And he's like, no, like I talk to myself. He's probably gonna like hate me for saying this, but so he said that he talks to himself out loud. Yeah. So to me that's like, oh. And I like gave this like really funny face when he was telling me that. And he's like, your face. I was like, well, why are you talking out loud? Now someone is going to think you need help or something. So, and I'll be like, excuse me, ma'am. No, he's with me. Yeah, everything's great. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So, but I will say, like, I won't speak out loud, but I'm like internalizing and like maybe like a disagreement or something, and I'm like just kind of like reassuring myself in that manner, but I'm not like actively talking out loud. So I don't know. Let me know if you do it, because then Matt will have someone that he can relate with. How about, so I feel like just like when I go about my day and then, you think of something and then it leads to something else and it leads to something else. And the next thing you know, I'm randomly like thinking of like someone I went to school with, like elementary school, maybe middle school, maybe it was a new kid. And then I thought, oh, like whatever happened to Sally, I don't know. Because some of these kids, would be new in like fourth grade. And then, like, yeah, like they came with you to middle school. But then high school, like, well, we're moving to Alabama. And that is that. And then you don't hear from them. Like maybe like you tried to reconnect on AIM back in the day. But truly, it's like, I wonder like what these people like are up to. Especially like even some of like the new kids, or maybe they weren't even new kid and then had moved. And either way, there was like a couple of people that I remember, being friendly with and, hanging out, and then like that was it. So it's just kind of interesting to think. I don't know if other people, kind of remember some of like those times with, friends and interacting and, hanging out. And it's like, well, whatever happened to blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Sometimes I try to look them up. Yeah. Maybe like LinkedIn. But you have to sign out of LinkedIn, because then, I mean, unless you don't really care, but because then obviously they're going to know like, oh, it's you, which would be like kind of random. But I don't know. Or even like sometimes I'll just like see if like they even have like an Instagram or Facebook or something. And I feel like a lot of times I'm like, oh, can't find them. Maybe they changed their name. Yeah. So, hey. Okay. So another thing I have down here. So maybe you're walking, maybe you are coming out of the grocery store and you're walking like to get to your car, and so you're in maybe a crosswalk or not, and you're like looking left and right, and the car, waves like, okay, like, yeah, like go ahead. And I feel like I'm always scared, like they're like, yeah, go ahead, and then they'll like run you over. Like, how terrible. Like, why do I think like that? I don't know. I think I've been watching like too many like crime and like murder shows that I'm like, oh my God, what if? But so yeah, and then it's like, well, I wonder what the driver is thinking. Like, fucking pedestrians, like, they think they can walk wherever they want. And it's just interesting because it's like, as a pedestrian, you're like, this motherfucker, like, they're not going to let me go. Like, come on. Sorry, I'm like cursing a lot. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are just get a little agitated. Yeah. Yeah. Because I will say, I just thought of one. I was like crossing the street, and this woman, and this was like last month in Conchi, and crossing the street, I was at, because it was like Ninth, at the top of Ninth and Fayette, and she didn't see me, and she was like turning left and like towards me, right? And I was like, oh my God, she doesn't see me. I was like, oh my God, she doesn't see me. And I'm like trying to like run now through the crosswalk. And it's like, dude, like fucking pay attention. Jesus. Oh my gosh. Like, come on. Like, I know I'm short, but I'm not that short. Anyway. Oh, I have another story, but I'll have to like try to incorporate that somewhere else, maybe with like an injured episode. So I'll kind of table that for now. So you'll be like, well, what is it, Dana? What is it, Big Dane? So sorry, but I'm gonna have to I'm just gonna jot it down now. Had to do with like my 5th birthday. Something crazy happened. Yeah. Fun times. Okay. So what else? Did that. So now, okay. So when maybe you're walking around or driving or whatever, I feel like for me, it's more when I'm walking because, you're really like internalizing and you're thinking of a lot of things. And because sometimes I'll, wear headphones, sometimes I don't. And, if I want to listen to like a podcast or something. Yeah, it's like you see so many sheds in the back of people's homes, right? And some look very nice, some don't look very nice and kind of like disheveled and, so I always think, and this is me, again, just watching and reading too many like murder shows and books and mystery and all that, but I think I'm like, wow, like this shed looks like shit. Like, is anyone like held hostage in there or what's happening, And so I think back to that movie Room. If anyone has seen it, I read the book as well back when I was in a book club, which I'm no longer in. We kind of just stopped. But yeah, like just from reading and watching that, it starts to make you think like, wow, like this could be happening like right in our neighborhood or town or wherever. And it's just like kind of scary to think about. I mean, and sure, like probably the ones that you don't think that look very nice, like, well, what do they really have in there? It's not just rakes and a lawnmower, but what else are they hiding? Yeah. And then, kind of tying in with that too, on a lighter note, I kind of think about how people decorate their homes, and I just want to like see and like, wow, so like what does the inside of your house look like? Especially here in Conchi, like so many of the homes here are like all different and different shapes and wide and narrow, like older and newer. And I feel like, yeah, a lot now they're trying to incorporate more new construction, but then you still see like so many of the older homes, which is pretty cool too. So it's just like I wonder like how like the house is laid out. Like, do they only have one bathroom like we do that's just upstairs, or do they have a bathroom, a little half bath, a little powder room, right? Right when you first walk in or what. But yeah, it was funny. Like my friends and I were actually talking about this, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, like totally want to see like how people like arrange things. Like, what am I gonna find? Like, what kind of kitchen table or like pictures? What kind of vibe are you going for? Yeah. So yeah, a lot of just interesting thoughts that I had. I'm sure more will come up, but when I was first starting this episode and just jotting ideas, I was like, shoot, I actually don't have a lot. And then, yeah, I feel like it's like when I'm out or when I'm taking a walk or something, it's just like, boom, like just pops in your brain. And I was like, oh, gotta write it down. Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what kind of weird things you think about or do maybe. So be sure to listen on thebigdanepodcast.com/podcast. So choose and select your favorite platform from there. Be sure to check out my coffee account too. So that's still on the website there, and then just the coffee icon. So I uploaded some new information and stuff for you. Yeah. And so you could check that out. And be sure to follow on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, and just as a reminder, if you kind of skipped through the beginning, if you didn't feel like hearing about the walk and all that, then you're like, well, when does this actually start, right? So, again, there's a charity going on for the Lighthouse for Perth, and that has to do with mental health and self-harm and suicide and things like that for emotional distress or crisis. So Robbie Hutton, okay, him and Sonics have a single out for the charity, We Won't Stand Alone, okay? So you can go to @RobbieHuttonMusic on Instagram, and he has the link right there in his bio. So that's ROBBIE Hutton, HUTTON music. All right. And then you can pre-order. All the proceeds go to this charity, which is fabulous. And you can listen to some pretty cool music. All right, my friends. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a lovely week, and I will talk to you later. Peace out.